Hello, everyone. You definitely know that most of restaurant chains have bigger profit margin per restaurant than you with your single restaurant. Do they have some magic? Do they have something special that you can't have in your restaurant? So we will discover what are major factors that allows those restaurants or restaurant chains to do much more than you are. I am Maxim Despark, the founder of the Deglaze Profit program, and my mission by recording these videos is to help you turn your restaurant into a profit generating system. Let's start. So, why do restaurant chains do more dollars, more profit than you with your restaurant? So, what do those restaurant chains have in common? What are their extra extra something that allows them to be that special? First of all, and one a disclaimer here. Right now, we are talking about successful restaurant chains, right? Only about successful restaurant chains. What do they have in common? First of all, they are focused or they have specific niche, and it's displayed in their menu. So in most of cases, their menu is narrowed. And by having that focused or niched menu, simplifies their marketing message. So every time they do some marketing campaigns, marketing efforts, they exactly know what are they advertising, right? And the message, if it's clear enough, it resonates with their potential customers. So this is really important because if you have in a single restaurant, let's say pizza and sushi, so how can you position yourself? How can you make your potential clients to resonate with your message? It's hard, it's tough, and that's why your marketing efforts becomes less effective. Second one, smaller number of dishes in menu. What that means? Of course, one of thing is that you have a narrowed or focused menu, but another thing, which is much more important, you have less ingredients, you have less processes because the less dishes you have, the smaller amount of dishes you have, the less different process you need to have, right? If you have French fries, you need to have a place and the process to make them, to cook them. If you have steaks in your menu, you need to work with steaks. If you have sushi, that's a completely different story. If you have pizza, you need to have an oven and so on. So the smaller number of dishes you have in menu, the less ingredients you need, the less processes you need, the less kitchen space, and sometimes you can even get rid of stations, different stations where you cook that, right? And this is really important. So, and by the way, for the second one, the less processes, that means that you need the less different hooks on each of those stations. Now, smaller amount of unique ingredients. This is somehow related to the previous one, but still, if you have smaller amount of unique ingredients, it's easier for you to do inventory, to count how many is left, this or that ingredient. It's easier for you to store, to have a place for each of those items, and so on. So smaller amount of unique ingredients, and this simplifies ordering, right? One thing if you have 200 items in your list, another thing if you have 70 items in your list to order. Then smaller number of days in inventory. It helps to reduce the number of wastage, the amount of wastage. What does it mean? If in average your ingredient stays 3 days on shelf and then it's used and you are buying a new one, only 3 days, there is almost no chance that it will be spoiled, right? But if you have in average the ingredient 17 days or 20 days or 30 days or even more in storage, kept in storage, of course it has higher chances to rotten, right? That's why the smaller number of days in inventory of each ingredient, the less chances it will spoil and you need to throw it away. Then, no custom dishes. By that I mean that you don't accept custom ordering from your customers and you have only the things that you have in your menu. Of course, they might be extra sauces or something, but in general, no customizing of your dishes. It's when you don't have those custom things, it's easier to train employees. It's easier to keep quality standards. Every time you do the same things, the same, let's say, 20 different dishes from your menu, and that's it. It's much easier to train employees to have only 20 dishes than to have this, that, and that, and and make sure that they do everything properly, having all those things. And if you lose one employee, and when you try to find another which would be able to cover all those different stations and to have all that knowledge, it's almost impossible. It's mission impossible. And it's easier to take orders. It's harder to make mistakes while taking orders, right? Now, what else do restaurant chains have? First of all, better conditions from suppliers. And of course, they have that because they have big volume, they have many restaurants, and they can have a bargain. But that doesn't mean that you, as a restaurant owner, can have a better deal with your vendor, with your supplier, or that doesn't mean that you can't find alternative suppliers and compare them from time to time. That sometimes happen that at first when you start working with your supplier, it gives you good prices and so on. But with time, they increasing those prices, and that might happen that at some point your supplier will provide you with much bigger prices than their competitors. That's why from time to time you need to look in the market to look for alternative suppliers if you have that possibility, of course, because it's not always possible depending on where your restaurant is. But still, you need to find alternative suppliers and compare prices. And if you see that your current supplier gives you bad prices, negotiate that. Then, what else restaurant chains have? Chains require to have the same quality level having written standards. What does it mean? To make sure that wherever you go to whatever location of their that chain, you will have the same quality, the same taste, and so on. And how to do that? By having standards and complying with those standards. So this is what they have. Employees culture that allows to keep unified standards. They also have programs to train their employees, to let employees embrace the culture, to let employees follow not just standards but philosophy. And sometimes that might seem ridiculous, but this is the way how they make sure that their employees comply with their standards. So this is another thing, another thing that you can implement in your restaurant. And the last thing, not the last, but from the list I've prepared, they have budget and financial targets. What does it mean? With no specific goals, you are not able to reach those goals. But only by having goals, you know what should you do, or at least what you need to try doing to achieve those goals. You are tracking those metrics and making sure that you are close enough to them to reach them till the end of the week, month, or a year. Doesn't matter. So restaurant chains have budget and financial targets, and budget allows them not only like have bigger sales and push harder to have those sales, but also cut costs using that budget as a limit, spending limit. So all those points or ideas that they've shared with you, this is what most of successful restaurant chains have. And this is what makes them stronger financially and in general as a business. But all those items you can implement at least partially in your restaurant. And you can verify yourself right now how many of those you already have established. Because don't expect that without those things your restaurant will be successful. Of course, miracle might happen, but in general, you can't expect the success without those things established. And you can do that the same as restaurant chains do. But there is another interesting thing all about all of that. So, what you don't find in this list that I've shared with you, that restaurant chains have, in most cases, they don't have ideal or super tasty food. Just think of it. How many restaurant chains have something amazing, some unbelievable taste of some of their dishes? In most of cases, they don't have. All they have is standards. They don't have top qualified employees, but they have employees that follow standards. They don't have famous chefs with famous names as a reason for customers to come to their door. They don't have it. They don't have high wages. They don't pay too much to their employees. And this is strange, right? And often you can hear that some of employees don't like working in such restaurant chains because they don't pay enough, because hard work and so on. But still, people work there. Still, employees follow standards and deliver quality results. And they also don't have unique or expensive interior. So if you are thinking hard of one of those things to implement in your restaurant, don't spend your efforts on that, because this is not what makes restaurant business successful. That might in some exceptional cases, but in general, this is not what makes restaurant business successful. So, what are key factors of success in general for you to think of? First of all, standards that everyone in your restaurant follows. Standards, it's quality, speed, processes, and so on. You need to have some standards. Then, simplicity in menu, processes, ordering, and so on. The simpler you have everything, the easier your employees to follow that, the easier for you to control that, the easier for everyone to do their job. And if at some point you decide to open new restaurant, it would be much easier to scale that to second one, to third restaurant, and so on, with standards and simplicity. Now, goal settings. It's also a key factor of success. You can't achieve goal by some mystery or miracle if you don't have goals set and you are not aimed at those goals. And effective control using metrics. Once you know what your goals are, you are establishing some metrics and you start controlling that on daily basis or maybe on hourly basis, depending on how obsessed with control you are. But those are key factors that makes restaurant chains successful and can make your restaurant successful. If you want to know more how we can help with improving your processes, in improving your financial situation, or in general your profit margin of your restaurant, please go to the description under this video and click on the first link. There you will find all the information about that. Otherwise, thank you for watching this video. I hope those ideas, those thoughts that I prepared to you and shared with you can help you to look differently on your business and find some good ideas how to implement, how to improve that. I really wish you to improve your business, to stop worrying on daily basis where do you take, well, will you take money to pay next payroll or something. And I wish you to improve your profit significantly while spending while decreasing your stress. Thank you for watching. We'll see you in the next video. Bye.